What's poppin', homies? And welcome to Stav's True Plan, the podcast where, well, we got a guest today.
Happy to be here, man.
Yeah? Why don't you introduce yourself?
Colten. Me and Stavros have known each other for how many years now?
Oh, man. It had to be...
It was freshman year.
Freshman year.
Engineering, so it's about 7 years? 7 years. That's crazy. 7 years. So this has honestly been a long time coming.
Oh, yeah.
We've talked about doing this for a while.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I see stuff you be posting, so yeah, definitely happy to be able to talk and
absolutely
get some stuff going.
Surely, and we actually have a little bit of history with little podcasts. We were starting one when we were a little bit younger. I think we got busy.
Yeah, stuff's tough, bro, because you get school, you get jobs. You don't have to find the time, but that's why I'm glad we got some time to get some stuff going.
I want this to be my career, so I'm putting a lot of effort, a lot of energy. Now that I got a little room, so I'm very excited for what's to come. Very excited. Well, hey, let's just get right into the episode. The topic we're going to be talking about today is a topic that we tend to discuss when we hang out together. It's a topic that kind of resonates in our minds, and I hope it resonates in yours as well. We try to have the correlation, and we try to figure out what is more desirable in life. Is it more desirable to, now you know our generation, we do our grind culture, the grind the bag, you know. Is it more desirable to seek out the bag, or is it more desirable to seek, I guess, what would be the other side? Enjoyment, happiness, your dreams?
Dreams is tough, but how I phrase it is, I think there's two paths you can pick.
Sure.
One, which is very desirable, especially now in our generation, is seeing how much you can achieve and putting your head down, grinding, and trying to get a lot of accomplishments and seeing how far you can go. But naturally with that path, I don't know if it'll ever be enough because you want to keep pushing. Yeah. So there's that path, or the path of being okay and comfortable and just seeking, being like content with what you have, and then enjoying what's around you, because one, I think, is more desirable societally, because society's like, hey, grind, push, you got to make the most out of yourself.
Yeah, and you're seen as, if you're not grinding, you're seen as lazy.
Yeah.
And that's a tough thing too, because that can be generational.
Definitely. And I think you can work hard and someone would still call you lazy because you're not working hard by their standards. Right. Like some people's like, oh, you only work 8 hours a day. How is he saying you work hard? Yeah. Whereas that's, I think, a lot of times the like baseline in a lot of today's society. So
I know
things are very touchy in that, because
they are.
Everything's so give and take.
It is such a big give and take environment, and I think about this a lot, especially with my podcast, my endeavor, and for me, I think about it too much, and I'm a first. I think the terminology is first generation, because like my dad from Greece moved here, and to do that it takes a lot of hard work, and I see him now. I admire him so much because he works so very much to provide for our family. The
blue collar family, yeah.
I know, and I admire him so deeply. But there are times he works 2 jobs basically. Yeah. And what will happen is he'll wake up at like 4 a.m. No bullshitting. Wake up at 4 a.m., work all day, clock out, and then do his other job, then come home, and then literally 2 seconds he's got on that damn couch, and he's like this.
Yeah, just catching some quick Z's before he's got to go right back out there and try to get some more money.
And sometimes he won't go to bed. That's his bed.
Yeah, I feel like my dad's been the same way, man. Like he's a city worker, so he's on call. So and I respect it. I've known him. Obviously, he's my dad. So 21 years now. I've only ever seen him not go in to a call like twice, maybe. It doesn't matter if it's 3 a.m. They're like, hey man, we need someone to come. Yeah. There's a main break or a tree fell. I'll be there. He's a worker, and I definitely respect that. But it's it can be a lot. It can be a lot.
I think it takes the right person.
Yeah.
But the really hard thing is, I don't think it's a gift. I don't know if it's a curse either. But I definitely see the world in a different lens I don't know if I can attribute that to what I've been through when I was young with my leg surgeries, but I see the world differently, and the truth of the world. I want to talk about this. Like, the truth of the world is that we have a limited time here, and
Definitely.
we don't know if it's the only shot that we have. Like, you know,
Yeah.
I like to be inclusive. I don't like to talk about religions. I like to talk as broadly as I can, and I try to be as unbiased as I can. So we don't know if, you know, maybe the Buddhists are right. Maybe we get reincarnated. Who knows? Or maybe the Christians were right. We go to heaven. We don't know who's right. But we're going to take into consideration and look at the world objectively. And when I see the world, we have what? Maybe 80 years here total.
Yeah, I think the average life is around 70 something in America.
Yeah, okay. So we're both in our 20s.
Yeah.
That's a fourth of our life already.
Yeah.
That's like a quarter gone.
And that's if you're lucky. You never know, man.
I know.
Things can go quick.
The way things are happening nowadays anyway. But and that's not even a guarantee. We don't even know when we're going to die. We don't know when it is.
Yeah.
We don't know when it's it, you know. So that doesn't sit right with me, like to be perpetuating this grind culture, because I know that during the grind, a lot of times days can seem monotonous, and days can, you almost kind of go into autopilot.
I was thinking something like that, because you almost become robotic in that you're so focused on a particular set of like objectives that you're not really focusing on what's in front of you.
Yeah.
Or you are, but not directly in front of you, like maybe further down the road.
Yeah.
And it's tough, because it's like people are so like different that some people is like may pick the path of like, I want to be content.
Yeah.
And they love what's around them. And then maybe 10 years they're like, man, I should have just grinded. But then you also get someone who picks the grind
Vice
set
versa.
and says, man, I should have just been happy with what I had.
That's the thing you hear most.
Humans want a lot of times what they don't have, and they like seeing the other side.
Yeah.
So the waves and the give and take of life is like a lot of times
Oh my God, yeah.
gonna change your perspective. So
Yeah.
they're both good paths. I just think you
agree.
gotta balance is easily. Balance is I think the easiest answer for a lot of stuff. But
Oh yeah, it is. Because like, I mean, look, when you talk about like the autopilot, like for example, you get ready for work. I just want to get to work, man. So you don't pay close attention to your surroundings. The thing, like I talked in my last episode, I'm not going to be able to touch this desk forever.
yeah,
But I take that desk for granted because I got work to do on this desk. So now I'm grinding, doing my work on this desk. The pencil that I'm using to write to do my work, like it has like little ridges on it. It feels nice in the hand, you know. So
you take those things for granted until you don't have them.
exactly. So in the grind, you're like you're at work. You put your head down. You almost like close your eyes and hope for time to pass. That is such a tragic thing for me. It's like waiting. It's like hoping time to pass. You turn into a robot. You work, and then like you clocked in at like 8 a.m. You go home at 10 p.m. That was one of my shifts that I had, and I didn't hate it, but the idea for me was like I want time to pass so bad. And the one thing in this world that you can never get back is time. And the value of time is, it's like I think it's the most valuable thing in the world, because
Easily.
like gold, you go into the ground, you find more gold. Diamond takes some time. Look into the ground, you find more diamond, right? Even like, let's say for example, people you love, that's a whole cycle.
Okay.
You know, so anything can be replenished. Maybe there are some true connections that can, you know.
Yeah.
And that's the ones those are as valuable as time, as true connections, and because they can't be replaced. But with time
can never really be replaced. Like I said, that's why like you see some people who they get to a point where they have enough money where you could throw a lot of money at them, but they're like, that's not worth the day it might cost me.
No.
Because they understand, once they have the money, they understand time is the real thing.
Exactly.
And I think an interesting thing you said is, some people obviously, like when they have the grind, it's like you just want time to pass.
Yeah.
But then what I find super interesting, and I know society finds super interesting, is you get the superheroes that you see like Kobe Bryant, who talks about it. And one of his quotes I loved is, he's like, people talk about like the grind and the push to get to a certain spot.
Yeah.
And how people see the spot that you get to at the very end of it, the goal. And that's the dream. He says the dream is the grind. Some people truly love the grind because there's a sense of purpose and almost like a fiery passion that comes with it. That is like, it's almost you just got to sit back and watch them work. You know what I mean?
It is a spectacle because, but I think it does take a special person to do that.
Definitely.
Because if you think about it, that person who admires that grind, sometimes I admire the ability to just sit the fuck down.
I do. I feel you.
And
some people can't.
Like, wow, look at that clock. I mean, it's fucking pretty. Look at that.
It's got 2 hands, 3 hands actually.
But look how nice it looks. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
I feel you.
Sometimes you're like, God damn, can't it be 4 o'clock already? I want to go home. Or
you do that thing in like school where you're like, okay, I have an hour, so I have to sit through 15 minutes 4 times.
Yeah.
You do that, like you start breaking it down to make it seem easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone does that.
Yeah, but no, and that's life. One way or another, you're gonna have to do something that you don't want to do. You're gonna have to work on something that you might not want to put your energy towards.
Absolutely.
But I do think that the ratio of how we're doing it is wrong. Mm-hmm. But I can't fault people who think otherwise, because what Kobe said, it is admirable, and you do have that working for yourself. And like humans, we need that cyclic thing to do that we need, like something that benefits us. Like for example, gains. I don't know if you know, but we're both inclined.
Yeah, the boys been working, bro.
We've been working, right?
The gym is. I feel you. Like a lot of athletes, like their sport, it's hard on them, but take it away from them, and it will. They're gonna be so empty.
You ruin a person when you take away what brings them joy and happiness. And if that joy and happiness is that grind, not many people get that privilege. Mm-hmm. And that's that. My people, my heart goes out to those who don't get that privilege.
Yeah.
And I feel a lot for them, because if it weren't for these people, then I wouldn't be able to get a package in Amazon like the next day.
Yeah. Like I said, I kind of wish I don't like saying society because we are society. So when you're like talking about society, you're talking about you. You're
talking shit about yourself.
Yeah, pretty much.
And the world around you.
But I do wish that people gave more credit to like a lot of blue collar workers and a lot of like, because I think these people it's like maybe not corny, but like they're the backbone of our country.
They really are.
Because if you like, maybe you like don't follow a firefighter on Instagram, you don't watch his music videos, but as soon as there's a fire, you need that
man.
Who
do you need? Yeah.
If something's wrong with your house, you got to get someone who does construction. If something's wrong with your pipes, you need a plumber.
Yeah.
And these people are extremely important, but I think we kind of, like at least nowadays, we see them as very like, oh, you're a plumber. Like it's almost like a, you settled kind of thing, but you need these people. And I wish we gave more credit and more like empowered them to see as important as they are.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like for example, my father is a painter.
Yeah.
He brings joy to people when he paints their houses, their homes. And it's such a necessary thing, and he finds joy in that, where I would be like, maybe not that much. But for example, my joy is here. I was setting this whole thing up. I love it. I love setting this thing up. It makes me so happy. It brings me that similar joy than like watching my dad, I guess. For him, the same pleasure that he would get.
Yeah, and one thing also to just kind of piggyback what we were talking about before is obviously things are in context. So when you hear Kobe say that the grind is the dream, obviously not everyone who grinds is grinding in something they want. Yeah. So Kobe loved basketball, and that was his whole life.
Exactly.
So obviously you're grinding in something that you love.
Yeah.
I feel for the people who are grinding in something that they just do not enjoy.
They were stuck
because they kind of have to, or they have to feed themselves, or people that care about their families. Because people are in a lot tighter situations than like you or me, or
I know.
And even like I guarantee there's people who have in a situation that I couldn't even fathom being in.
I know.
And I have a lot of respect for them. So when you say, oh, some people can just like say, oh, you got to love the grind, is sometimes context is very, very important.
Exactly, especially for him, because I'm sure he's not exactly living the dream.
For him, he probably was. But I guarantee if you had Kobe and if he was like forced to be, like I said, maybe you need like a plumber or something.
Yeah, but what if Kobe was forced to be a plumber from the beginning and he never was able to realize his true passion because it's safer to do that?
Yeah, I think it would be different. It would be very different, because obviously when you get someone who's that competitive and that hungry for something,
but I think that's that's what the world does for people.
Yeah,
it kind of forces you to be safe. Like for example, with me, people might look at what I'm doing with my podcast and be like, get a job. Mm-hmm. It's easy to say that. So easy to say that. But if I find myself putting so much work into something like this, and it might seem something as simple as like a podcast, but for me, I want to spread a message, and the easiest way for me is a podcast. Mm-hmm. So I was thinking about this, and I wanted to see what you thought about that, because I was actually kind of glad we were talking about Kobe again, because I wish perhaps the world took people with interests like these into consideration. You know what I mean?
In terms of podcast, you mean?
Not podcasting, but like I guess we talk about the American dream. We talk about like following your passion. Mm-hmm. But when your passion is like something like this or something creative work, it's such a pain in the ass. You have to build your own brand from the ground up. See, now you become like a marketer. Now you become all these things, and it just makes it so hard for you to build from the ground up. What do you do? What are your next steps? Yeah. But like, for example, we got our buddy Kyle, who never went to college, and now he's working a trade and making fantastic money. Oh, but he works.
Definitely. Yeah, no, I respect, like, same thing with like my buddy Lucas, my buddy Z, and even me, is like trades is, it's hard work and it's needed work, and a lot of times you can get that stuff done, but it doesn't mean you can't do something like this on the side. Sure. Like, it's the same kind of, like, obviously it's tough to make this a career. I know. But obviously you can work for it. Oh, right. But like, if you do work and you have your job, it doesn't mean like, let's say you want to do like me. I love doing tattoos. I want to like do tattoos at some point. Yeah. Is even with a trade, is like, it's not like I can't be at home practicing tattoos. That's true. You know what I mean? So I think you can find time for stuff, but I definitely feel for you that artists in general are some of the hardest stuff to make money on, because if someone has to want your painting, or someone has to want your music, or want your podcast, or want your words that you say, your ideas, it's tough. But I mean, I respect people who don't give up on it, because we need art. A lot of stuff would be boring without art. I agree. It kind of, I think like the hands-on, the creator, the blue-collar worker, it's kind of like a lot of stuff that we take for granted behind the scenes type thing. I don't want to say that they're the same, because they're obviously not. Yeah. They're obviously not. But there are a lot, we consume, we are consumers. We in America, we're fat consumers. Absolutely. Like, consumer culture, absolutely. Oh, yeah. So there are a lot of things that we consume from a lot of different people. Like, you get an apple, right? Where'd that come from? Yeah, because it might have came from the store, but the store got it from somewhere else, and that somewhere else probably got it from somewhere else. So that's just part of consumer culture. There's a lot of shit behind the scenes, and a lot of people who work very hard for very little. And like, you need those people, man, and they don't get very, like, it's a very unsung job, but you need those people. That's why you got a lot of respect for them. Absolutely. And I do hope you see that. I do think hopefully in the next 30 or 40 years, after everyone is trying to be an influencer and all that stuff, or influencer and all these other jobs, I think you're going to start seeing people having more appreciation for trades. You think so? I do, because like, society's always comes in waves. Sure. I think where there's a big internet push right now, because you're seeing so many people get jobs. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And like, even this is kind of what we're trying to do with podcasting. And that's awesome. Like I said, if you have your voice and you want to say something, dude, more power to you. Absolutely. But I definitely think there's going to get to a point where the people do what you want to do, say your words. Those are amazing people. But I also want people to give love to the people who built the house that they're actually doing the studio in. I know. Or built the house that they're recording music or doing art or anything. I think those people are going to come, hopefully, I really do hope, in the next couple, maybe like 20 years or so. Yeah, I agree. I hope so too. I definitely, I teach and I try to show people that it's always better to take an objective mindset, but also remove yourself from the initial, like, removing ourselves. Like, we weren't able to make that distinction until we like kind of went a little further into it, thought a little more. I'm actually glad you said that. I don't want to cut you off, but no, that's a big thing. Is like, you have to separate yourself. Because one thing that that happened to me personally is, I think this generation loves being real. They would say, "Don't be fake, be real." Yeah. And my like dumb self when I was in high school or whatever, even middle school, is like, when I hear like "be yourself," I think some people hear that as like be your first reaction. Like, that's the most real you. Yeah. Being impulsive is not being you. No. that's a thing that messed me up, because I think a lot of times your first thought is never the best thought, like, ever.
Never.
So I think that's a good thing. You got to try to separate, take a few seconds to think, and don't put yourself in it, because the first thought is not you. And I think that's a big thing that
I agree.
I struggled with at one point, that I kind of realized, you just kind of think about it for a little while.
You have to, because there needs to be a balance of living in the moment and living out of the moment, and knowing what is the time for what.
Definitely.
Because there are times, like, if you remove yourself, like, this is me, and I remove myself, and they're like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll appreciate the people who need it. Life fucking sucks.
The more you separate?
The more you separate, the more depressed you'll get, I think. So there's a little control I think you need to have.
I don't know if you're always going to get depressed. I think
the truth of the world hurts.
Definitely, but I think there are also times that with the hurt, you also get immediate gratitude.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of times, like, if you pull yourself away, it might be depressing in certain things.
Yeah.
But then you'll pull yourself away, and you're like, oh, I'm a guy who, if you take your name out of it and everything, like, you have friends, or you have, like, both parents, or you have, like, a bed. You ever thought about just, like, I have a bed? Like, you hear some people who just don't. So I definitely understand how when you pull away, you can get depressed, because you see some people with other things.
Yeah.
But then you also have the opposite end, where you can be just in like, completely grateful for certain things.
I know.
So it's very given, but that's life. Is you can't have one without the other.
No.
The good and the bad, they kind of coexist. You know?
Exactly. And I'm glad that we can kind of circle back to, like, our the name of the episode is that, like, dream chasing, or those grind chasing people, and the little bit of, if you can step back, you can appreciate both.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people don't step back. So one certainly does get appreciated more than the other, and more perpetuated in a society. But today we're seeing a weird shift. We're seeing a really weird shift, and I don't know if you've seen this too, but, like, especially with TikTok, which I hope it gets banned, by the way.
You don't like TikTok?
I hate it. I hate it.
Yeah.
I did talk about it in my previous episode, but I put app timers on my shit.
Okay.
I expanded one of my apps, like, timer. I put 20 minutes on each app.
Oh, that's like before you can't use it?
Yeah.
Or like it? Okay.
I expanded it to an hour.
Oh, yeah, dude. It's tough, bro. I feel like
It's bad.
You get, like, those
it's
things,
so
you get those, it's like, oh, here's your screen usage, and you're like, dude, I'm a crackhead.
You're gonna
for my
vomit.
Phone.
You're gonna vomit.
Bro.
I feel like I'm gonna vomit every time I see my screen time.
Bro. I'm trying to get better at that, but that's tough.
Like,
it's tough.
I talk about it, like, how long did it take to set this up? I could have been on Instagram this whole time.
Oh, dude, you can be scrolling, and you're like, oh, it's been 3 hours.
The whole fucking day passes.
It's crazy.
The whole fucking day passes. It's terrible.
It's a lot.
So fucking terrible. But no, like I was saying earlier, like, on TikTok, you see a lot of aspiring people trying to make it.
Yeah.
So we're seeing a very odd shift, and I think that now in our society, there's like a bell curve. Think about it, it's like a bell curve, right, or whatever. And we used to be more here in the center. That there were some people chasing dreams, and there were some people who were grinding, busting their ass. They were in the middle. But now we're getting here and here, and I think we're seeing a lot more of the extreme with social media, that a lot of people are trying to do their own thing and think they can become famous and try to make it. I mean,
yeah, it's kind of ironic that we're talking about it, but no, that's kind of what I was saying with, like, the trades thing. It's like you're getting to a point where, like, the next 10 years, people are going to want to do influencers, and then you're like, oh wait, everyone's wanted to do this.
Exactly.
No one wants to build houses.
It's like OnlyFans. It's like OnlyFans.
Yeah, that was popping for a minute.
I know.
I guarantee that's still not going to die.
It's not, but, like, I saw a video where this one woman was doing OnlyFans. Okay. I forget who it was. She was in the top 30% of creators, and I think she made $40 or $50 that month.
A month?
That month, and she was in the top 30%.
Really?
Yes.
I guess I believe it. OnlyFans is probably like everything, though.
I don't know the exact numbers, but
that's probably right. It's like in everything. The top probably 1% makes the most. Everyone else probably just makes meh.
So it only works if you have, like, a following.
Yeah.
But that's regardless. But I just think that, like, removing me, because I would do another way if I could.
Meaning?
A way to spread my message.
Yeah.
And if there was another way to do it, I could. But I see that stuff like this gets a lot of attention.
Yeah. Oh, there's nothing wrong with what you're doing.
No.
I don't want you to. Yeah.
No, I know there's nothing wrong with it, but like, when I tell the people, like, oh, I'm gonna do my podcast, it's like I throw that term lightly. You know what I mean? Like, if there was like, if I could be like, oh, I'm gonna go speak to a bunch of people, I'd do that. But I gotta get a name first.
Yeah, definitely. No, I get you. You can do like podcast. Like, yeah, I guess podcast is loose because you can do clips, you can do podcasts, you can do more like just short videos, and it's not necessarily podcasts. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. It just, the way how I see the world is that I do think we're getting in sort of like an epidemic of like the extremes. Because like the reason why we came up with this topic is because that there are a lot of people who are heavy in their grind.
Absolutely.
Or there are a lot of people heavy in their dream chasing.
Yeah.
And you know what? It maybe is a little okay to get closer to the middle of that bell curve and have a little moderation. Yeah. Which, now that I'm saying it out loud, I think I need to put my money where my mouth is.
Okay.
Because admittedly, I'm on the deep end a little.
You think?
I do.
Okay. I mean, doesn't mean you have to stop doing what you're doing.
Oh, no.
You can just what, like, you think like cut back, you mean? Or?
I think I need a balance.
Yeah, balance is extremely important. And just so you maybe don't feel as if you maybe necessarily have to. One thing I think is with the question of whether to be a grinder and to like get as much as you can versus being content with what you have. Yeah. Honestly, I think those are basically two just separate phases of one person's life.
I agree.
Because let's say like you're from the ages of 20 to 25 or you're 18. A lot of people think as soon as you're 18, you go to college, you kind of grind to get some money or some stuff until you're like maybe 24, you're out of college so that you can set yourself up for the future. And then once you have your job at maybe 24, 25, then you can kind of start being content and being happy with what you have. Some people think maybe until you're 30 you start and then 30 you can start being content. Like I said, I think it's kind of different sections of one person's life because it's like the same thing. Like you might grind for one period of time. It's like, man, I should have just been content. And then one person might be content. I mean, I should have just grinded.
Like with our youth.
Absolutely. People are very different, and people change. People change all the time. Like another thing, like say people be you, be real. Yeah. When people say be you, you're not going to be the same you in a year. No. So you can't necessarily be so locked into one particular mindset or one frame of mind.
I agree.
So I think that question can be two things. So for now, you might think you're grinding, but you can grind until maybe you think you have a following. And then you can start maybe like, hey, I have certain people that like want to hear me, and then you can be content, you can be happy, you can be grateful. So I think it's a separate two phases of one person's life.
It is true. It's true. I guess I want to pick your brain on this because I was thinking about it. It's often that you hear that young people are, you're young, get out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What is your take on that?
I definitely think there's definitely truth to it because people out. It's like old people, like not old people. I don't want to be old people. They don't like being called old.
They don't listen to me. It's okay.
No, just that's funny. I'll say old, and my parents will be like, "Oh, don't say old," but whatever. Is older people
geriatric?
Is they might benign, but you get older, and then people usually get older as soon as they get money. They want youth. They don't want money anymore. Like they're like, "Oh, youth. Why?" Like I think the thing is why youth.
What an interesting thing. Hey,
they say youth. Why is it wasted on the young? That's like a thing. I can remember. I think that's like the quote. But I definitely think
hell of a quote that is.
Yeah, because
that puts you in a perspective a little bit.
Because if you had the mindset of someone who's 40 and you know everything you know, but you had the body and like the ability to operate as a 20-year-old, in their minds they're like, oh, I'd be unstoppable. Like they're like, oh, I don't have to sleep that much. I could eat a pizza and not gain 10 pounds. You know what I mean? So youth it's tough. I mean, I definitely think if you're younger, you definitely got to push a little bit because if you don't push when you're a certain age, you're gonna lose that. But I don't think you necessarily have to like I said, some people take it to the extreme. Like, oh, you're young, you got to be working non-stop. And I don't know if that's necessarily the best way.
No,
but
I don't know.
It's like I said, it's very tough. Things are very there's never really a 100% answer. So.
No, and it's hard to find a true balance.
Yeah,
it's hard because let's say I'm a student. I take full-time classes, right? Yeah. I see a lot of my peers at university. They have a full-time job on top of that, and I'm barely managing it without that.
Yeah, man. That's like some people are in the position where they have to like pay a lot for their education. So
that's insane to me.
Exactly, it's tough, man. But like that's why some people say, "Hey, you're young. You can do it. Do it now." So I get that perspective, but it can be a lot.
I know, but when you get old and tired, that little retirement check comes in, all you do is buy a Corvette and stay in the same city you were born in. You know what I'm saying?
No, I get you. It's tough.
Or move like 2 cities over.
Yeah.
I
Or
don't
like
know.
a beach house for like a couple period, like a couple months out of the year.
Yeah, it's hard. It's you. I think the way to tackle this question, and I think the true way to tackle this question is, what's right for you?
Definitely, because there's no concrete answer.
No.
It's definitely just what's right for you.
And I think we pay too much attention to opinions out of our life.
Mm-hmm.
And even if it hits close to home, you know what's right for you. And no one got comfort in their life financially by being comfortable.
Yeah.
So there's a give and take here.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you mix, because like there's like this and this, why not let them fuse a little?
Yeah, definitely.
Because I think people work their absolute best grinding for something that they love.
Yeah, they say like if you love what you do, you never work.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah, when I was younger, I was scared of that.
Mm-hmm.
I was scared of that. Like going into something I was told I was good at, I'd be like, then I would hate it. I'd hate my life.
Mm-hmm.
I'd hate because I find so much joy in this, and then I grow up, and I realize, wow, all these fucking jobs suck.
Dude, that's the shock of life a lot of times. It's
Oh
like,
my God, yeah.
you're just like, man, a lot of this stuff is not what I want to do. But I think that's why sometimes, because the people who love what they do is, sadly, it sounds kind of pessimistic, but people who like love what they do, you are talking about a pretty, like, I think, small percentage.
Yeah.
But that's why I think being the content is a really big component of life, because you have a, like, even if like it's like, oh, this isn't what I dreamed of necessarily.
Yeah.
If you have like a certain job, like all the people we like the blue collar jobs, you're you're necessary, like you're important. People are needed, and like you have like a lot of purpose, and I think that can help people find comfort, especially when things get like bad.
Yeah, I agree. Like I think a lot of people seek to help people.
Yeah.
Like with our buddy, Pazig,
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to name drop. I don't know if that's like something that we shouldn't do.
Well, we're just going first names. Like I said, you already mentioned Kyle. I said Luke.
Yeah.
We don't have to go full. Like,
okay,
full
so
names.
Our buddy Dom, he was talking to me like how he wants to help people, and for him, cutting hair is helping people.
Yeah. Oh, and it was really cool because some people, they work on stuff and then they get to the job and they're like, man, this isn't what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
But we were working out. We were having a conversation, me and Dom, and I remember he kind of looked at me. He was like, man, no, being a barber's sick. Like, I love it. And it really like made me happy to see one of my friends work for something, get it,
and excel,
and then like it.
Yeah.
So like I'm stoked for him. I know he's gonna kill it. So stuff like that is like, I guarantee you he has that, like, because that's a necessary job.
He has that spark.
It's a necessary job.
Yeah.
You see, when COVID hit, bro, people were like, bro, where's my barber, bro? This is not getting good.
Yeah,
my corners, bro. So like definitely, like that's awesome. That's a good thing to bring up.
Absolutely, it is, because I think a lot of people can interpret that in different ways and find their focus elsewhere. Like for you, what would that be for you? Like, what do you feel like is your purpose? Like your mission? Like what do you want to accomplish?
Oh, that's a very broad. That's a great question, because that's broad enough to where like you want to accomplish something for the people around you.
Yeah.
And you also want to accomplish something for you.
Yeah.
Like I'm a very hands-on worker. Everything I love is physical. That's why I'm going more the trade route.
Yeah.
With like construction, carpentry, and stuff. But also I love making things. So that's why like even when I do that stuff, I'm still gonna I like making designs for like t-shirts, tattoos, and stuff. So that's more so for me. I think that's my version of balance.
Yeah.
Having the job where like you need to do your job, you need to earn some money, and you need to like be useful in your community. Yeah. And then you also can have your own fun stuff on the side.
Your pleasures.
Like podcasts, going to the gym, working out, talking to friends, and just making stuff. So I think that would be mine. But I also, I'm a simple guy. I know some people want more complex things and huge, grandiose things. I just, if I got my friends and I got some food on my table, I'm pretty happy with that.
That's a good thing, I think. That's a good thing.
Yeah, man.
Because I think that's a good desire to have.
Yeah, I think I definitely probably, I guess in saying that, as I think I probably fall a little bit more towards the content side of being happy with a lot of stuff, because you do talk to people who like grind super hard and then they get to a certain age and they're like, it was never enough, because it's like, if you're always pushing, are you ever really enjoying it, or is it just like, oh, I could just keep going, I could just keep getting more? So, but I think that's bad, because I definitely have parts in that. I'm a competitive guy. Yeah. There's parts of that in me, but like I said, I like some of the simple stuff. So I guess I'm thankful in that.
That's nice.
Definitely.
That's fantastic.
Definitely, my guy. What do you now to flip it?
Okay.
Because I know you love the podcast and you love a lot of like theatrical stuff and a lot of talking and like putting yourself out there. What do you think your version of like what you want to do with your life or your purpose? I guess. But I know it's a very tough question. But
it is a tough question, and I think about it a lot.
Yeah.
I've always been told that I'm wise beyond my years, and that I have a different perspective, and I really my mission in my life, my goal, is I really want to present people a new idea. Maybe not a new idea, but the possibility of a different idea of how life should be.
Like a perspective?
A perspective, yeah, a different perspective. And that I do believe that a lot of people are quite wasteful in their limited time they have on Earth. I do think people are quite wasteful.
You want to elaborate on that? Like, what do you mean?
Like we were talking about with scrolling. Like, I had a professor call it doom scrolling. You know, like just scrolling endlessly online. They're very, it's almost like if you have a lot of money that you got just a whole lump sum and you're like, swiping that credit card everywhere, and then you're depleted. I know that because I've been there.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the feeling of that moment is as important as how I felt after. So I think a constant reminder of the after you do something like that should always remind you, like, maybe I should be more here. I should be more
present. Like
I should be more present. I should be less wasteful with my limited time. Yeah. And a lot of people need to do a lot of soul searching. And what I try to tell people is that we're not going to be here forever. We will die one day, and it's time you better figure out what the fuck you want to do here. You know.
True. And try to, like I said, try to be happy.
Be happy.
Try to, because even like things are gonna get bad, things are gonna get tough, but try to be happy.
Yeah.
And it's I guess one thing that was cool is another quote. I feel like I'm mentioning quotes, but I love a lot of the David Goggins kind of Jocko, all that stuff, the very motivational
I've been getting into David Goggins recently.
Those guys make you feel like you're not doing anything, but it's I know it's a cool thing to just listen to and push yourself. But I remember there was one thing that I think kind of correlates to what you were saying with like being wasteful and how maybe some people scroll and they just let time go.
Yeah.
I remember this one guy who was talking to one of his friends. It was a podcast, and he was talking about one of his friends was in jail for a period of time, and they were talking about how he had 20 years.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh man, they were talking to him and like, oh man, hey man, those years will fly by, man. Those years will fly by. And then the inmate looked at me, he was like, I don't want the time to fly by. He's like, I'm gonna be happy wherever I'm at, because I'm only here for a certain period of time. My life is my life. I'm gonna enjoy my life no matter where I'm at.
Exactly.
And that's coming from someone who's gonna do 20 years. Yeah. And you hear that and you're like, if someone's gonna just force themselves to just try to be happy and see the positive or just enjoy the experience, it's like, man, that's very like,
exactly.
It's motivational when you hear that stuff, because you're like, that man's not being wasteful because he knows, this is a bad situation, but this is the time he has, and how can you use it? That's not being wasteful at all. You know
exactly. I mean? It's kind of like how culture is beyond ours. When they were to kill an animal for food, that they would appreciate every part. Yeah. And I think life is that way too. That you need to take every part and value everything the same. That's what I talk about in my last episode about life, and I could talk about life over and over and over again, but for me, I guess to answer your full question is that like whatever possible way that I can reach a lot of people and make people go, yeah, I need to think about that a little more. That is my dream. Is that I want to show people that especially people who'd rather not be here. I want to focus on them and be like, it's pretty nice.
Yeah, I want to provoke like good thought.
Yeah,
definitely, man.
I love it here, and I'm content with passing away. I'm content with that, but sometimes I'm like,
that's a big thing, dude. That's big.
Yeah,
that's tough. I feel like everyone. I don't want to say you're lying, but I feel like everyone says that, and then you get the moment, and you're like, oh, I don't want to die yet. I don't want to die yet.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I think the only thing that's allowing me to say that with true certainty is like I got me a little more time on me.
Yeah, hopefully. I'll knock on wood, bro.
I know, knock on that wood,
Nah, I get you. I get you. That's a good answer. Definitely got to take the good and the bad.
Yeah.
That's like 50 Cent. Death got to be easy because life is hard. It'll leave you physically and emotionally scarred. Sunny days wouldn't be so good if it wasn't for rain. Joy wouldn't be so good if it wasn't for pain. That's 50. That's not even a philosopher. That's 50 Cent.
He's a modern
vitamin water 50 Cent.
Black Socrates.
Yeah, no, that's a good line though. You really do got to take the good.
That's true, but look who's saying it though.
50.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because I mean, think about it. He almost died, so he had the rainy days, and then now he has the sunny days. So.
That's true, but
you know what I mean?
I think the he was able to have that audience, and he was able to say that, and that hit a lot of people. He's quite well off right now.
Oh yeah, he's chilling. He's
so
rolling.
I think that, you know, despite him being shot, despite him being shot,
yeah,
I think for certain people in certain lifestyles, it's easy for certain people to say certain things.
But I don't think when he made that song, I don't think he was well off yet.
He wasn't?
I think that was on his first album.
That was his first album?
Yeah, because his first album was easily one of the biggest first albums.
I don't know music like that.
No, it was Get Rich or Die Trying. That was easily one of the biggest first albums. So I don't think he was well off before then.
No?
I think he was probably. I don't think he was starving. I don't know for sure. I don't know.
No.
Story.
We don't know 50 Cent like that.
But yeah, I don't know Curtis Jackson, man. I don't. But I don't think he was super well off, especially not how he is now.
Yeah, so I guess it's easy for me to say that. Like I was saying, how it's easy for him to say that. It's easy for me to say that.
Yeah.
So I think that.
It's funny. I didn't think we bring up 50 Cent in a philosophy talk.
Yeah, I know, right?
That those lyrics came to me. I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah, I think it's quite. That shows that it's probably good to stay out of other people's business.
Yeah, for sure. You don't know what someone's going through.
Yeah, I don't know what you're going through, but like I do because we're homies like that.
Yeah.
But like,
check up on your homies, by the way.
Check up on your homies. Always. Kiss them good night.
You never know what's going on with someone. Someone could be chilling on the outside and freaking out on the inside.
Exactly. You know, we in this world, I think we're lacking in love severely.
Yeah. I think we're getting there. I think more people are starting to talk about that, though.
I think people are now more keen on love if there's a lens, if there's like a camera.
Oh, you think? But maybe not in behind closed doors.
I don't think so.
Well, I guess we'll never know because they're behind, but.
I don't know. But I think people are so in I guess the real world. I guess people are more. I guess the dot between their neutral self and hate is a little closer than the dot between them and a loving kind. Because I think the world kind of primes you to be that way.
What, like very neutral?
No, like to be more like what I'm trying to say is like on like this is where your neutral self is.
Yeah.
Hate is here. But that love is a little there.
Further away.
So it's I think like when you're looking for a response, it's easier to look to that because a little closer.
You're right. Yeah,
but some people have a fascination with opposite it. Though.
True, but even like with the news.
Yeah.
You go on the news, you never hear old lady saved from a burning building. You usually hear 18-car pileup. Yeah. 3 people shot. It's
or old lady died in fire in an apartment.
Yeah, so like a lot of times you hear that. I guess that's true. I don't know why humans have such a fixation for the negative, but I guess we just do.
I don't know either, man. I guess we can propose our final remark here. Unless you want to talk about other things, I don't mind.
That's fine. We can do a final remark. That's fine if you want to put a little bow on the conversation.
I think I like to wrap it up in a nice little bow.
Cool.
But when addressing the issue of if it's more desirable to grind, if it's more desirable to bust your ass, work, or is it desirable to be content? Mm-hmm. What is your answer?
Okay, it's going to be kind of broad, but I'll try to make it a very consumable broad answer.
I think that's good.
I think if you're that question, if you feel like, well, number one, I think if you're in a position where maybe you can't,
you don't have the luxury of that choice.
Then yes, you obviously have to work, and you have to. But I would say is if it's between strictly just like putting your head down and just going and being happy with what's around you. Mm-hmm. I would lean more towards, I mean, it's like kind of a cop-out, but like a little bit of a combination.
That's what I was going to say,
too. To where if you're like, even if you're grinding and you have your head down, try to enjoy it. Because a lot of people, as they grind so hard and they get to that podium, and they look back and their favorite part is all the journeys and like their story and the people that they met. And those days are like, man, I was at the office doing all this stuff and I was here forever. But they look back almost fondly, so I think you kind of got to try to enjoy those moments because they're going to pass you by.
I agree.
So I think definitely kind of a mix because you do got to work, but no matter how hard you work, I think you got to do your absolute best to try to enjoy it.
I agree.
So I think that's probably my answer. I know it's a little bit of a mix, but
yeah. So for my answer, it's gonna jump off yours a little, but a little differently.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say who said this because people might not like me for it. But there's a quote of someone who's quite famous. They said, in life you get to make a choice. You have to make in life you have to make a sacrifice. Mm-hmm. But it's your choice on what that sacrifice is. Mm-hmm. So understanding that and being like, okay, yeah, I do gotta work. This is true. If I gotta work, let it be in something I have true passion for. Because I think if people get the pleasure to work in their passion, unstoppable force. Absolute unstoppable force. So I would argue this, that if you have something in your life that fulfills your purpose, not your goals in your life, but like, why are you here? What are you doing? What is your mission? That if that can be a solid thing that you can really bust your ass on, let that be so. Mm-hmm. Because it's common that nowadays, like with wages and everything, like you work very hard to have very little return.
I could see that, yeah.
It's quite common, and easier jobs tend to be this way. But if you can really, really put like the amount of time you would do in like a heavy work, and you'd put it into your passion, put it into your work. Like we have a friend, I went with elementary school with her. She's created a beauty business. Mm-hmm. Now she went to like a expo or something. I don't know what that was, but I found that I found that an admirable quality, because like she took something like that and ran with it, worked into it. She's marketing herself. So I do believe like that there can be. You say there's a mix. Mm-hmm. I say a fusion.
Okay.
That I think if you derive pleasure from your mission, and if your dream kind of ties that together, mm-hmm. make a fusion.
Yeah.
And put your money where your mouth is.
Okay.
And I think that's where we can leave off.
Awesome. I think it was a good conversation.
Very good conversation. And that has been an episode of Stav's True Plan. I hope you've enjoyed. This is going to be a new little, I guess it's not set, but a new little feature. I'm going to have guests coming on real soon. I have a lot of people up and ready to talk with me. So
I hope I'm back on, man. I enjoy talking.
Honestly, you're going to see him again.
Awesome.
If you like him, let me know. I'll let him know. Thank you. Peace.
Oh yeah, dude. Woo, that was a good conversation.